Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today this video is going to be on my take for the astrology and then the following horoscopes for the ascendants and sun signs for January 2024. So happy new year to everybody. I really do hope this is a new year filled with hope and positive things and maybe some hopes and wishes coming true for some of us, right? All right, so straight on the 1st of January, we have that Mercury that's been retrograde, that started its retrograde in Capricorn and then made its way back to Sagittarius, will turn direct at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. I mean, how auspicious is that? And I want to emphasize, especially for folks that are Sagittarians or that they have a placement in Sagittarius around the 22 degree mark of Sagittarius, and especially also for the Geminis. So you Geminis, if you've got something in Sagittarius around 22 degrees, or in the opposite sign, which is your sign, Gemini, or any other sign that has a 22 degree mark in Gemini, know that this is going to be significant for you. And I'm thinking if you are waiting for information to come in that's been held back, or not been clear, especially as it relates to your future and any travel plans, because these are all Sagittarian ruled type areas, know that everything's going to start eventually coming forward and working out. This just marks the start of the direct motion on the 1st of January. And then, of course, it has to make its way to go direct. Really kind of the third week of January when it'll be completely out of shadow and it will have returned to around that 8 degree mark of Capricorn where it started its retrograde in December 2023. Be hopeful. That's the one thing that this Mercury as a standalone in Sagittarius says to me, that this is hopeful news that comes in. It's future oriented. Good news arrives. As I said, travel, any types of travel could start really moving forward positively. And anything with regards to a foreign connection can also now move forward with some positive actions, right? All right, so our first new moon is going to be in Capricorn. And Capricorns, you've got 2 new moons this year. You've got one here at the 11th of January, but you've got a second new moon that will actually be around the 30th of December 2024. So 2 big new starts for Capricorns, or if you've got a Capricorn rising, for instance, around any of these degree points. So this first new moon in Capricorn will be at 20 Capricorn 41 minutes on the 11th of January at 3:57 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, notably, we will have this new moon squaring the north nodes in Aries. So this really, I felt, relates to, we want to get on this new path where as individuals, we can express who we are and not be afraid to do it. The new moon being in Capricorn says, and with the square to the north nodes, really speaks to, again, this uncomfortable transition time for the newness to happen, and this being held back by those that are in power, that can control the rules and regulations, that type of thing. So we're not clear yet, right? We're not clear to get on that path, that Aries path, and move forward doing our own individual things. There's some kind of challenge here that you need to overcome. But certainly if you've got something around that 20 degree mark of Capricorn, this could be a whole new start for you, especially now related to Capricorns or Capricorn rising, right? If not, sometimes this stuff can go by, without any real noticeable effects. Now, we have Mercury, which will be at 27 degree of Sagittarius, chasing, Mars, which is going to be at 5 degrees of Capricorn. And so it's the first time and the last time this month of January that although Mercury will chase Mars through the whole month of January, it'll be the only time that Mercury will be in Sagittarius. So I saw this also as a hopeful emissary. That's what I saw. And don't forget that Mercury, right, in mythology, was the only entity that could go from, the gods up there in the heavens down to Hades or Pluto, in the underworld safely without having any repercussions. And that's how I saw this. A Mercury in Sagittarius chasing this Mars is an emissary, is trying to work something out here for foreign nations, for the travel industry perhaps, and individually for our future. And it is trying to put effort into getting this moving forward. But all of January, as I said, we have Mercury chasing after Mars. It will eventually catch up, and there will be some significant things happen here, more so in February. But this is an emissary that wants to make change for the future, wants to change perhaps travel rules, that type of thing. And it's going after this Mars to get energy to push this stuff forward, right? Also could be diplomatic type stuff as well. Now, Mars itself in Capricorn will be sextiling Saturn, which is beautiful. This is opportunities for us to take action to what? To put new types of structures around areas of our life that more importantly relate to things like our spiritual values. It helps put structure around compassionate projects, for instance, too. Puts the energy into that. Now we're going to have Venus, which will trine Chiron, and that's going to be beautiful. So this brings in healing energy here. But it also could be, I'm thinking, females itself. We may hear from a female that can bring great healing to people, right? We have that moon and that sun trining Uranus. And that is absolutely beautiful. So Uranus brings in unexpected things. It can bring in enlightenment. It can bring in surprises. But the trine says, hey, this is favorable energy. It's favorable surprises and unexpected things can happen. I also saw this new moon. I almost saw it like an egg cracking a little bit. And with the Uranus part, the Uranus causes a crack in the egg so that this newness can come out. And if we think about it, right, even we look at chickens being born out of the egg, it's that type of thing that I'm getting here. And it's not always an easy thing to do, but all you need is the crack to have that open and have this new thing come forward, right? And I think this is going to do with, we're going to get some indication of, hey, there is going to be some new things, new changes here with regards to structures for all those things that are ancient, archaic, in the past. They should stay in the past. And we want this newness rushed in, right? So we're going to see evidence of that, slight cracks, right? We will also have Mercury, as I said, in Sagittarius. It will do a wide square to Neptune. And I know I spoke about this during the my video that I did on this whole Mercury retrograde. It is wide, but it's still there. It will be exact a couple days prior to the new moon on the 11th of Jan, just like literally on the 9th and 10th. And so what this brings in, the first thing that came to my mind was Caveat Emptor. And of course, that's buyer beware. Don't forget that Mercury can be a bit of a trickster here too. And especially in Sagittarius, it likes to exaggerate things sometimes. It makes things look beautiful, like really nice. How could you resist? And with that Neptune in the square, it really speaks to, potentially being deceived, potentially being snowed, a potential fog around where you really don't see what's going on. So if you do have something, say, around that 27 Sagittarius and or 24, 25 Pisces, there could be something here that may come up for you that you need to pay attention to. It's play out in literally communications with you, from you. It could be letters, it could be contracts, all that type of thing, right? Okay, the next thing that I saw important in the month of January was for the first time in a very long time, we will have the Sun conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And recall that 0 degrees is a critical degree, and it's the beginnings, right? So this, I believe, is going to mark, especially in the collective, a whole new beginning. The Sun is our essence. Pluto is about transformation. Aquarius is about change. And so look at the 20th of June, 21st, maybe the 19th. In the collective, in the world, some major change that is affected, maybe major changes. So we're talking about humanitarian types things, right? We're talking about things being equal for people. Now, Aquarius as a sign can also rule things like, outer space and potentially all the scientific things that we've got going on. So this could also mark the beginning of some new scientific discovery or something new happening up there in the heavens, right? Now, it will go on in February, the first half of February, that 0 degree mark of Aquarius with Pluto at that point. You will have the inner planets. I'll talk about more of this in February, but I did want to give you the heads up. So we're going to have Mercury, Mars, and Venus all conjunct also after the conjunction of the Sun. I see the conjunction of the Sun as the most important, but then the first half of February with the other 3 inner planets, fast-moving planets, are also going to ignite whatever it is that came up around the 20th of Jan. We will have also that same day, Mercury will go direct and out of shadow. He won't go direct, but he will be direct and out of shadow at 8 Capricorn. And so this is all going to be occurring, the whole Sun conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius at 4:57 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're also going to have Mercury conjunct Mars at this time. So there's going to be some news, unexpected news come our way as well, where there may be some breaking up of structures of some sort here, right? So the effect of Mercury on the Mars is really, actually it may be breaking up structures, but it's breaking news. Whoa, that's what this is. Breaking news about some kind of archaic structures of some sort. And this could relate into politics and things like that, but it could also literally just be structures. We're also going to have Jupiter at this time sextiling Mars very nicely as well. So this is opportunities for us to move forward with our future, opportunities for others maybe to go travel, opportunities to work with a foreign connection of some sort. So we're looking at around that, 6, 7, 8 degree mark here of Jupiter in Taurus and then Mars in Capricorn, right, for it to have any effect here. But it could be also some lucky movement forward with regards to any of those areas. So the law is also involved here. If you have this set up at these degrees, the law, advanced education, publishing, foreign people, foreign things, and travel, as I mentioned. We will have Venus at this time in Sagittarius. We'll have a wide square to Neptune. And so this could bring about, I'm getting this word of sour, a little bit of sourness with regards to maybe that person, that love that we put on a pedestal. Maybe they're turning out to be maybe some of what we thought was sort of a soulmate type thing and that they were this perfect love. You're running into some challenges here where maybe some of the masks are slipping a little bit. And, in any love relationship, that's going to be part of the process and progress of a relationship where you start really seeing what's real, right? And so I see that this is what this may represent. It can also represent some kind of confusion with regards to foreign monies, for instance. In fact, this may be the start of us, what's going to happen to the currency that we're going to view as standard for the world, right? That may be indicated too, especially because of that Sun conjunct Pluto. So we're still talking about that day, Sun conjuncts Pluto These are just other aspects that happen. And Pluto, is all about power. All right. We have that full moon that's going to be at 5 degrees of Leo, 14 minutes, and that's going to be on the 25th of January at 9:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So for Leos, this is going to be some kind of culmination that will be happening here for you. Let's go through some of the aspects of this day. We'll still have Pluto. That's going to be at 0 degrees of Aquarius, widely conjunct the Sun. The Sun is going to be squared to Jupiter, that's in Taurus. And then obviously that Sun's going to be with Pluto, but they're a wider orb now here, right? 0 degrees for Pluto, and more like 5 degrees for the Sun. We'll have the Moon square Jupiter. And we'll have Venus at 3, Capricorn, trining Jupiter, though. So this is going to be lovely energy with regards to what? I would say it's going to be lovely energy for us to maybe make some money. It could be lovely energy for us to increase the value of ourselves at this time. We may increase some of our possessions. We're also going to have that Jupiter at 6 of Taurus will be sextiling Saturn. And so this is lovely as well. I saw this as perhaps foreign nations being given the opportunities to put down new structure in their lives here. But certainly if you have something, say around that 6 degree mark of Taurus or 6 degree mark of Pisces, where Saturn is, it could be an opportunity to change up some of the structures with regard to some legal matter, for instance. Travel could have some new rules and regulations come in here too. That's a big one in terms of the collective at this full moon at 5 Leo. We're also going to have Mercury here that's going to be trining. It's going to be a wide trine to Jupiter, but it is there. So again, these are opportunities for us to discuss travel, the law, anything to do with advanced education and publishing, if you've got something around the degree points, right? Now, we have Mercury will be conjuncting Mars, but Mercury is approaching Mars, right? So it's still not conjuncted, but it's coming awfully close here. And so this is that, spark to get the message across. And the message is going to come across from those that have some kind of connection with regard to the rules and regulations. Now we end the month on the 27th of January. Uranus goes direct at 19 degrees of Taurus. So this is wonderful. If you've got something around the 19 degrees of Taurus mark and you've, say, been waiting for some movement forward that's been delayed, look towards that 27th of January for suddenly things start moving forward. Now, obviously, Uranus still has to build up speed to move forward here, but know that there may be something that unexpectedly comes in for you if you are waiting for something to move forward and you have something around that 19 degree mark of Taurus. All right, so next I am going to do all the sun signs and ascendants. Whatever resonates with you, you should be watching and or listening to. All right. So Capricorn. So Capricorn, the big news for you in 2024 is that you've got 2 new moons, right? You've got the first new moon in January, which I'm going to talk about in a minute here. That's going to be at 20 Capricorn. And then you've got the second one, literally on the 30th of December 2024, and that's at 9 degrees. So if you have something at 20 or 9 degrees, or you've got something in Capricorn at both those degree points, you're going to be bookended here by newness. And certainly for those folks that, those Capricorns that have had the residual effects of Pluto in Capricorn, this could be an unbelievable new start for you in maybe all areas of life, right? Now, you really do need to look at your individual chart. And in fact, you know what? It might be a good idea to consider maybe getting your actual astrology done by, a really good astrologer. That would be a good idea. Okay, so the new moon is going to be in your first house. You do have to have something around that 20-degree mark of Capricorn for it to have a big effect. But hey, it is your new moon, Capricorn, so happy new year to you. We have that aspect that I talked about, the Pluto conjunct the sun in Aquarius is going to be in your second house. And I'm going to talk about the full moon too, because it's important. The full moon in Leo is going to be in your 8th house. So now we're talking about the second house, 8th house axis here, right? And so this brings up money. It brings up investments. It could be a time with the second house being activated by the Pluto conjunct Aquarius, where you come into some money comes your way, or you increase your money with regard to the income that you earn. That's that second house. But it could equally be, for some Capricorns, that you increase your value somehow. Maybe you've been upgrading yourself and you finally reach the point where you can be offered more money. Now, Pluto can also mean power. So you may gain some power in the job maybe that you do, or power over the money that you make. It can also give you a greater sense of value of yourself too, right? And it can increase some possessions coming your way too. Now, with the full moon in Leo being in your 8th house, the opposite of the second house, this now refers to joint finances, right? Joint finances, investments, 401ks, pensions, mortgages, taxes, all sorts of stuff like that. So I would say, certainly for those folks that maybe are running up your credit card too much, this may be a full stop for you, where you're finding out that you've got nothing left on your credit card. So, maybe use that influence in the second house, where you're earning a bit more money, to pay off some of those things. That would be an excellent way of using that. But it's going to put some kind of focus on these types of things. Now, the other thing that it can also involve, of course, is your psychological self. The 8th house also represents secrets. It represents sexual relationships. So there may be some Capricorns that start a new serious relationship of some sort that's very deep for them. And it could represent, because, Leo does represent true love. It also represents children. So in the periphery of this aspect, you could have those elements coming in here too. Yeah, so we'll have to see how that pans out for you, Capricorn. But leave me some comments. I would be definitely interested. Now, for those that are late-born Capricorns, you're still going to have, just for a short while in 2024, Pluto at 29 degrees. And so know that this is the very last year for those folks where you're going to be able to say goodbye, right? And technically, it's going to be in November that Pluto, in our lifetime, will no longer ever be in Capricorn again. And so that's the all clear, right, Capricorn, that you can look forward to. Take care of yourself, Capricorn. All right, Aquarius. So Aquarius, that new moon that's going to be in Capricorn is in your 12th house. And so the 12th house really represents a lot of hidden things. So it is hidden places. It can sometimes be hidden recesses in the back of our mind. The 12th house can also represent secrets coming out. It can represent the metaphysical world. So there may be some Aquarians that decide, hey, I really want to get interested in astrology, or I want to get interested in shamanism or tarot or any other of the metaphysical types of activities. And maybe with it being behind the scenes, you decide just to start by taking some books and reading them Now, for other Aquarians, you may just decide that I need to start to take care of myself. And part of that is I need to get a lot more rest. And that becomes important for some Aquarians, where you just need to take a rest. And I mean, this is after the holidays, right? We're talking about January here. And maybe you've been overdoing it, or some Aquarians have overdoing it. You just say, that's it, I need a rest. For others, you may also decide to literally get some rest, but by go to an ashram to kind of feed yourself in terms of like the metaphysical part of it. And that would also be an excellent way of using this too, right? Now, that whole Pluto and Sun conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius, of course, is in your first house. Now, you do have to have something that's close to that 0 degrees for it to have a big effect. But the important thing for all Aquarians to pay attention to is this is going to be the start of 21 years or so of Pluto being in Aquarius, asking you to transform. So for some Aquarians, you may just get a little tap on the shoulder with regards to what you might need to transform. In particular, what you might need to let go of. Something happens where you're alerted and you say, that's interesting. And for some Aquarians, this can be not necessarily a person. It could be something inside yourself that needs to be changed as well. So just generally speaking, Aquarius, I would just pay attention to what comes up, not only at that conjunction on the 20th of Jan, but also the first half of February, when we have all those inner planets also conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So there's going to be a pinging going on as well. So I'm talking particularly to Aquarius here, of course. Now this would be Aquarius rising as well as Aquarius sun sign, right? When we look at that full moon in Leo, well, Leo is opposite your sign. So now this highlights your partners. So this could be literally your marriage partner. It can be a business partner. It could be both. It can also be clients and any other, right? Any other. Typically, we talk about any other as where we would sign a contract of some sort, right? And so the 7th house is going to be in opposition to this full moon in Leo. And so I would say that there may be a bigger focus on your partner for some reason. It could be, like I said, a business partner or a marriage partner, where you're going to have to either contend with something they're doing or they do something that comes to light for you that has you alerted or standing up saying, oh, what's going on here? Now, it could relate to those things that are Leo type things, right? So we're talking about a creative project. Maybe your partner, business partner, or marriage partner has this creative project that they're going to be taking on that maybe they're going to have to tell you they're going to take more time away from being with you, and they're going to be working on this creative project. But it could also be it rules children. So maybe some Aquarians are going to hear that their partner is pregnant. For still others, it could be children, say this is your second marriage, children of your partner come into focus for some reason. What else could it be? It's starting your own business. So you may have a partner tell you that too. Look, I want to get out of the corporate, ladder type climbing, and I want to do my own business here. And they may have to work with you or where you work with them to make that happen. It could also be, Leo is supposed to be having fun and they love games of chance. So it could be that your partner says to you, and this isn't for everybody, of course, but for some Aquarians, look, we're not having enough fun. We need to take 2024 here and really amp up that fun factor. And that's what comes up at this full moon. Take care, Aquarius. All right, so for Pisces. So Pisces, that new moon in Capricorn sextiles your sign, and it's in your 11th house. So on the surface, this could give you opportunities to what? To make new friendships, to join new groups. And what a great time of the year to do both these things, especially, I think, joining new groups or groups that you've wanted to join. This is going to give you the opportunity. And for those Pisces that maybe have submitted paperwork to actually join a group, you could be given that opportunity here to join, that you're given the A-OK to do it. The 11th house, for those folks that have their own business, the 11th house can represent opportunities to potentially make new money in a new way. And still for other Pisces, 11th house can be hopes, dreams, wishes. So you may have an opportunity to, or see an opportunity here, to make one of your hopes, dreams, or wishes come true at this new moon in Capricorn. Now, when we look at that conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, that's in your 12th house. So this could literally bring, for some Pisces, literal enlightenment, that you get it. You get what? You get maybe what's been holding you back. You get maybe what's been tripping you up, and you get a chance to, correct it. You could have an unexpected secret pop out, because the 12th house also represents secrets, either yours or somebody else's, but it also represents hidden places and hidden things. So this could play out a few ways. It could have you literally being given this new sort of task to transform maybe something in a hospital setting. It also rules prisons, it rules ashrams, government offices, anything behind the scenes. So you may be given this opportunity to work behind the scenes. You can't come out in the open necessarily. And for some Pisces, this may actually equate into working with social media. But for whatever reason, maybe you're doing planning and organizing behind the scenes at this conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees. But know you're going to have another activation the first half of February, when we got those personal inner planets pinging that same point at 0 degrees of Aquarius conjunct Pluto. So whatever does come up at that time, know that it will carry on right the way through the first half of February. When we look at that full moon in Leo, it is in your 6th house. So the 6th house does represent health, generally speaking. So you may have some kind of, illumination of some sort that comes up regarding your health. I would say take care of it if that does happen, and it could be something very small. But it could also have you deciding to end maybe it's a fad way of doing a diet, or a fad way, and I'm talking F-A-D here, D's and David, way of doing an exercise program that you look at it and you say, yeah, I'm looking at this now, and I'm reading other people doing it. I've decided I don't want to do this anymore. Or the opposite. That's something that you're reading about really appeals to you, and you decide to change up what you're presently doing regarding exercising or nutrition and do something different and new. It can also rule the day-to-day job that you do. And if you don't work, it's whatever activities you do. And so this is your chance to, I would say, maybe change things up. And it may involve children, because that's Leo. It may involve creativity of some sort. And for those that say don't do a job, but they're involved in some maybe creative projects that they love to do, this could have you deciding to maybe take on something different than what you're doing right now. And as I said, it can also involve children here. It can also just have you deciding that, because it's the 6th house of health, that you need to have more fun. And that's what's illuminated for you. By having more fun, your health will improve. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? For others, it could have something come up with regards to your, say, games of chance that you're playing. There could be something that comes up at this time. Maybe for some Pisces, you will actually win something in the lottery. Now, don't quote me on that, but this is possible at this point too. For others, it could also have you leaving a job, right? Because this is a full moon. Something's illuminated for you with regards to your job that maybe you just don't want to do anymore. And you literally maybe say to yourself, this isn't fun anymore. I want to get out of this job. And that might be what's illuminated for some Pisces at that full moon, right? Take care, Pisces. All right, for Aries. So that new moon that's going to be in Capricorn squares your sign and involves the 10th house. So this is your career. This is your reputation. This is your social standing type thing. And so I would say that don't take this as a negative. Just take it as, okay, there's a challenge here happening in these areas of my life. More than likely, it will translate out into your career. But it's a new start. So for some, maybe there's some new rules and regulations that you've got to pay attention to in the job. So that's very Saturn ruling that Capricorn, right? It could be a manager or director institutes new things for you at this time that you have to absorb now into your career. That's what I'm getting the feeling of. And that is a bit of a challenge for you. Or maybe you just don't want to do that. Or there may be new things that you've got to do in your job that you say, I'm doing it too much already. And maybe you're going to have conversations with your manager about how you incorporate all these new things, and especially new things with regards to rules and regulations. How am I going to do that and make it happen? That's okay. Have the conversation. When we look at that whole conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, that sextiles your sign, Aries, and it's in your 11th house. So this could bring a whole new start, a whole transformation of friends in your life, of the groups that you belong to. It can also bring opportunities for you to make more money if this is, if you are actually involved in your own business. It could also bring a glimmer of hope with regards to literally wishes and dreams that you have. That could be up for you too. Yeah, I like that. And don't forget that we're going to have during the first half of February, all the inner personal planets conjunct that same degree point of 0 degrees of Aquarius conjunct Pluto. So it's all about transformation here in a positive way. Lots of opportunities to transform the 11th house, which I've just mentioned, that will continue through the 1st of February. And it's almost like this conjunction of the Sun and Pluto and then the following conjunctions of the inner planets in February is going to set you up in this area for the next 20 years or so. So pay attention to what comes up. It may only be a small piece, but that's going to become a bigger puzzle for you over the next 20 years or so, right? That's how long Pluto will stay in Aquarius. Now, when we look at that full moon in Leo, we know that's a fellow fire sign for you, Aries, and that's trining your sign. So favorable energy pulsating your way via the 5th house. Awesome. Double awesome because Leo rules the 5th house in the natural zodiac, right? So these are positive things coming to you, Aries, with regards to creative projects. Positive things coming with regards to your children, if you have them. Positive things coming to you if you're looking for new love. This could be really awesome for you. I know it's a full moon, but because it rules that 5th house of Leo and its new love, there could be opportunities here of energy coming in to promote a love in your life. For some Aries, you may actually give birth at this time because that 5th house also rules children. And of course, this is a culminating energy, generally speaking, right? For others, other Aries, you may decide, I don't want to do my business anymore. I'm going to change it. I don't want to work in this area anymore. I'm going to go back into the corporate world. Or I'm going to end this business and maybe start up another business in a short while from now. That could also be up for you too. But overall, this I think is going to bring for a lot of Aries a tie up in some kind of big creative project that you've been doing. And for other Aries, it may be a tie-up with regards to some aspect of maybe working with celebrities, that type of thing. Can also be working with, royalty. Now, and not everyone's going to be involved in that, but it's tying up things with regards to that, right? All right. Take care, Aries. So for you, Taurus, that new moon in Capricorn, well, it trines your sign. So we know this is favorable energy being beamed for you towards your 9th house. So this would be an ideal time for you to go on some travel of some sort, an ideal time to start an advanced degree, an ideal time to finally get that writing project published, or anything that you've got going on that needs publishing at this time. If you're tying up something with regards to a legal matter, this is super positive to have a new start here and have things resolved. I really like this new moon for you, for sure. And of course, that new moon will be activating Uranus in your sign in a positive way too. So for some Taurians, if you've got something around, that 19-20 degree mark, you may actually have some surprise turnaround with regards to anything that I actually mentioned above. Because don't forget, we have Uranus and Taurus going direct at 19 degrees of Taurus, and it will be going direct towards the end of January. Now, when we look at that whole conjunction of the Sun and Pluto in Aquarius, that squares your sign, Taurus. And so this is going to bring up the beginnings of challenges for change in this area. So this will just be a little peak of something that will happen around that 20th or so of January. But then it will continue to be activated the first half of February, where we have the interpersonal planets conjunct that same degree point of 0 degrees of Aquarius conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Now, you do have to have something around that degree point, right, to have anything noticeable happen. But I would say pay attention to, these are kind of what I'm saying, thinking of whispers of things happening with regards to your career. And especially from the standpoint of what needs to be transformed here. Does it mean you've got to be taking your power back? Does it mean potentially over the next few years or so that you may take on a more powerful position in your career or something that you want? So I would say if that is the case, look to what is going on there and then pay attention to what maybe you can do. Especially as we go into that first half of February, where you're going to have other people coming in and other situations coming in, activating that 10th house. You may be able to harness other people to help you, maybe change up your career. But this area is going to be highlighted for you, the 10th house, for challenges. And like I always say about squares, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means you've got to put effort into it. And as long as you're putting effort into it, that's okay. And there's always other positive aspects happening around that can contribute some good energy to this too, right? Okay. Right. When we look at that full moon in Leo, that also squares you, but it squares the 4th house. So really in January, we've got your career and then the home life being affected by challenges. So I would say that this could involve children in particular. Now, the 4th house does rule the mother, by extension, the family, your physical home, your childhood home, your habits. But because it's a full moon in Leo, and Leo does rule things like children, I'm getting this as a more obvious potential for you with the square. There just may be some difficulties that come up with regards to children that you've got to take care of. And how are you going to take care of that? You have to do it through creative means. Leo is very much a creative sign. And so just remember that as things maybe evolve with regards to children, family, even your mother, your home, that there may have to be some creative element that comes in here to help you out. For others, it could be that you have to no longer work at home, that you are required now to go into work face-to-face with people in an office. And the challenge is that you've now got to figure out, how am I going to organize everything in my home so it runs smoothly, because I'm not going to be here anymore. I've got to be in the office, right? I think a lot of people are probably going through that type of thing right now. There could, for others, literally be something that comes up in your home, your physical home, that you have to take care of. And again, go back to that whole thing of creativity, right? Use the creative process to solve whatever the challenges are in that home. The other thing that could happen too, because Leo rules true love, it could be that there's a challenge for some folks to incorporate a new love into your home. Maybe you've got to clear out one of the rooms in your home so that your true love can move in and have some sort of energy of their own to put their possessions and things in places too, or have their own office. And it just isn't all straightforward. All right. Take care, Taurus. So for Gemini, that new moon in Capricorn falls in your 8th house. So this is a new opportunity to do what? Well, take a good hard look at your finances. Take a hard look at your investments. Find out, are there any new rules and regulations that you've got to pay attention to with regards to these? Pay attention to 401ks and pensions. I would just say this is an opportunity to just review everything in those areas of life. And that would include your mortgages. Take a good look at your credit card, how you're spending. Do you need to maybe negotiate that whole APR, the interest rate that you're paying? Don't doubt that you can't do it at this time with this new moon in Capricorn. Capricorn rules those people who make the rules and regulations. So it encourages you to potentially do that type of thing in a very positive way, right? For others, it could be a new start with regards to your psychological self. Maybe you decide to seek expert advice with regards to some kind of therapy that you might want to get involved with. For others, it may be a new start with regards to maybe a serious relationship that you're going through right now, where you're going to be sharing resources and you've got to set up bank accounts and things like that. That could be the new start for some Geminis as well. When we look at that conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, that is in your 9th house and it forms a lovely trine with you. Well, what does that say? Well, that puts some beautiful energy into anything 9th house. That's travel becomes a possibility now. Anything regarding the law or legal stuff now has some positive energy of a new start and moving forward. Remember that 0 degrees starts, a new start, new energy coming in here. For those doing advanced degrees, if there's been issues there, this also provides this lovely energy to move things in a new way for you, right? To transform something here. For other folks that are having some kind of dealings with foreign people and foreign lands, wow, this sets up a whole new energy, maybe even unexpected turnarounds from people in power to give you your power back. And this could translate, of course, into visas, passports, that type of thing, where maybe you were held back. Now this is a signal to go forward. And let me just tell you, for people that are in that, you're going to also have the benefit of those interpersonal planets for the first half of February, pinging this in a positive way too. So don't think this is a one-off. You're going to get lots of assistance for all those different areas right the way through the first half of February. Good luck. Now, when we look at that full moon that is in Leo, well, that sextiles you, Gemini, and it's going to be in your 3rd house. Wow. So this brings wonderful things to light with regards to anything to do with communications. Things are possible now. Maybe there's a big illumination that's going to be put on some aspect of Leo-related things. Well, what is that? Creative projects get tied up here at this time, and you're able to talk about it and get great success with it. Writing projects could come in for you. A writing project could also, culminate that maybe you finish off some big writing project here too. It can also mean, with the Leo part of it, it can also be children. There may be an element of children that are involved here. And certainly if you have your own business, there may be some important communications that go on here, or important opportunities with regards to maybe talking about your own business or getting your own business out there. Maybe that's creating a website, or maybe getting into social media of some sort too. Sales and commerce are very much favored here as well with the full moon. Maybe you're going to sign some contracts here where you seal the deal. Very positive for you here. You could literally just have some really positive communications with children, right? Because Leo, being the full moon in Leo, it can involve children here too. It could also just have you, having this sense of having fun, that you get this impetus to communicate with people and say, let's have fun here. And maybe that fun is going to be having with your neighbors, because that's third house, as well as your siblings. That would be an awesome way to use that full moon in Leo, by the way. All right. Good luck to you, Gemini. All right, Cancer. So Cancer, that new moon in Capricorn is going to be opposite your sign in your 7th house. And so there's some new beginning that's going to happen with regards to your partner. This could be a business partner. It could also be your marriage partner. It could also be clients or any other. Typically, we talk about signing contracts with people. It's that type of other we're looking at, right? A whole new start could open up for your partner here that favorably affects you directly, right? You could, for some Cancers, you could literally have a marriage partner come your way that appears during January. It could also have a business partner come in for you as well, or clients are activated in a new way for you too here. All very positive. But I really see this as potentially your partner having something new start for them that actually affects you, as opposed to you having something directly affect you, right? It could be a time when you form new business partnerships, or you're approached from a business partner or partners about doing something new, whether it's in an existing business partnership or a new one that you decide. It's a renewal for sure in terms of the newness, right, in these areas. When we look at that conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, that's your 8th house. Benefit to you, Cancer, is that Pluto rules that 8th house. So it puts like a little bit of a glimmer on it for you, as opposed to darkness. So Pluto in its own house really speaks to big transformation with regards to anything 8th house. So for some lucky Cancers, this could be major positive transformation to any investments that you make, inheritances, other people's money. You could gain some power in this area. And certainly if there are some Cancers that say you work in investments or in the banking industry, you could literally be elevated into some position of power at this time. I know the 8th house doesn't rule necessarily anything to do with your job, but I'm thinking because it's Pluto and it's power, this could be, and if you are working in those areas, this could be a lot of power coming your way. Just remember, there's a lot of responsibility with great power, right? For still others, you may have a transformational deep sexual relationship. And this will be going on for at least 20 years or so, the intense effects of that. For others, you may just decide you want to really do an overhaul with regards to the monies that you share with other people, your investments, your 401ks, your pensions. All of these may actually be overhauled too, not through your efforts, but maybe through external means, right? Certainly, if you've got credit cards and things like that, or money that you owe, Pluto also calls those in. So for those few Cancers where you need to pay off some credit cards, get serious about it, right? And I would say this could be positive for you if you reach out and actually speak to those people in power and negotiate something. Don't see it as all a be-all that ends all here, right? But certainly transformation of all these areas of monies are going to be important. But equally important, Cancer, is going to be the transformation of your psychological self. And I think that this is going to happen gradually over those 20 years, with Pluto being in Aquarius, activated at this point in a very positive way. You may actually become very powerful with regards to influencing people psychologically as well. This is the sign of the psychologist, right? You could even become known starting around that 20th of Jan, and things being set in place, people talking about you that first half of February, that then continues this transformation of yourself in this area of psychology. There are going to be people that are going to be in this area, right, where there's huge transformation, not only of yourself psychologically, but perhaps with other people too. And we can translate that out to anything Aquarius, humanitarian causes, anything to do with social media. All those are up here too, right? With regards to transformation from a psychological standpoint, and by extension, from anything to do with psychology. Like it. Now that full moon in Leo is going to be in your second house. Okay. So don't panic. You're not going to lose your job necessarily. And if you do, it's just going to mean that there's something better for you. There's no question of it. But there's going to be some Cancers that just decide to let go of some aspect of the income that you are making. Something's going to be illuminated in that second house. Now, there's going to be some Cancers that you've just been spending too much money, and maybe over the holiday season, you have been spending too much money, and you've got to rein that in, and it just becomes obvious. So just take the steps that you have to take to rein in spending that money, right? And start paying off your credit cards, which is the 8th house, which I just spoke about earlier. For others, it can also put this big spotlight on maybe ending a way of not valuing yourself, right? So when we talk about Leo, we're talking about being your own unique self, right? That's what you seek out here. And you just may have this epiphany where you're realizing that you're not being your genuine, authentic self here, that those values that you think you have are not appearing. People aren't recognizing them. Or maybe you're not paying attention to them. And you need to pay attention to them with this happening. That's a good thing. Maybe you need to shift something with regards to how people view you from your value standpoint, right? So for others, it could also have just a source of income that, for whatever reason, disappears, or it becomes apparent that it's not going to be staying. Now, this could have something to do with anything Leo, so that could be a creative project. Let's just say you were being paid handsomely for this creative project that you were putting together, and you really enjoyed it. And you just don't get a renewal necessarily, or not right now, right? Children could come into the mix as well, for whatever reason. Maybe you decide to end some form of payment or monies that you've been giving to children, that you can now see the end of doing that. That's a real positive way of using this full moon in Leo in your second house. All right, Cancer, take care of yourself. So Leo, this new moon that is going to be in Capricorn is going to be in your 6th house. So this is bringing in, for some Leos, a whole new start with regards to your day-to-day job. And if you don't work, it's the day-to-day activities that you actually carry out. There's going to be some new start here of some sort. Now we're talking about this new moon happening in Capricorn. Capricorn tends to deal with things like things that are traditional. It could have something by extension to do with, say, people above you, like your supervisors. There may be some new start there. that affects your job. But for others, this may be you just have decided you want to do a new job here. Or if you don't work, that you decide activities that you've been doing all along, you'd really like to make a new start. You don't want to really do some of these things that you've been doing, maybe just don't resonate with you anymore. But you want to seek out something new. The other thing that this could bring in, of course, is your health. That's very sixth house. So there's going to be some Leos that make a conscious effort. Maybe that's that whole, what are you going to put together for a list for changing up in 2024? And that might be your health, where you take much better care of what exercise you do, much better care of what you put in your mouth, what you eat, what you drink. And it can also be mental too, right? How you treat yourself inside your head. And so I would say that for some Leos, there's going to be just whole new starts there in January that are very positive, right? And the fact that it's Capricorn ruled by Saturn, these could be really enduring for you and have long-lasting effects for you as well. Now, when we look at that conjunction of both the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, that's in your 7th house, Leo. So this is going to bring up some kind of transformation that'll be happening with your partner. That's going to become obvious around the 20th of Jan, 2024. And that will continue being pinged right the way through the first half of February, with the inner planets also conjuncting Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Pretty important stuff. But it also sets up a potential trend for the next 20 years for your partner as well, with regards to transformation, right? So it could be for some Leos that your partner, maybe it's a business partner and or a marriage partner, you start seeing that there's going to be some major transformation that's going to be long lasting here for them. And it could be tied in with anything that's Aquarian. So that's humanitarian type things. It also is anything to do with social media, like the internet, YouTube, any platforms that are social media type things, right? Equality for all is also a very Aquarian thing. It's also intellectual. So there may be some Leos that some partners are developing their intellectual side of themselves too. Mm-hmm. But it's your partner that's being highlighted here, Leo, at that conjunction. Now, the other thing is that you personally, Leo, could see big changes and transformation in your business partnerships. That becomes obvious around the 20th of Jan and carries through with maybe potential changes in maybe some of the people that you're actually dealing with in these partnerships, right? And that happens maybe during the first half of February. Clients could also be up for a big change for you as well, and big transformation for some Leos. Clients that you've been dealing with may disappear and new ones unexpectedly come in. That may be happening for you as well. You just may have to deal more with other people for some reason. Other people that you sign contracts with may become more important as part of your transformation, right? Now, when we look at that full moon in Leo, well, we know that you are a Leo, and that's your first house. So I would say that that full moon is going to illuminate something for you, Leo. Probably a conclusion of some sort with regards to maybe a creative project. Maybe something will end with regards to a new love. Maybe you had started some kind of new love type thing, perhaps even during that summertime period with Venus going retrograde in Leo in 2023. And this brings some kind of culmination here. Now, listen, it doesn't have to be a culmination of it ends this beautiful new love. It could mean that it ends a certain part of the progress of a new love that was identified, especially for those Leos that had something really intensely developing around the summertime period of 2023, right the way through into September, October as well, when Venus started going her retrograde stopped and she went going forward again, right the way through October, right? This could just bring some kind of culmination where maybe you make another decision. This is another decision point where you say, okay, we got engaged at that time, or we agreed to go out together. Either let's get engaged or let's get married. That could also be up here too, right? And Leo likes to be splashy. They like to, have a good time. And so this may also be a time period for some folks. Maybe you'll have some kind of party to celebrate something, celebrate this love of yours. That could happen too. But just as equally, it could have you culminating and ending a big creative project. And some of these projects may have a bit of fame attached to them too. For others, this could be to do with children, right? And it could be literally the birth of a child or an announcement of maybe somebody is pregnant. And that also could be tied in with that whole partner thing, right? That's the whole conjunction of the Sun and Pluto in Aquarius opposite you. That 20th of January, your partner maybe could become pregnant, but it doesn't become announced, or it doesn't culminate as an announcement in your first house until you have that full moon in Leo. That could also be something that might come up here too. But children might be in the mix. For others, you may just decide, I don't want to do my business anymore, because having your own business can also be represented by Leo too. And so you may just decide you want to go back into the corporate world, or you just want to do a whole different business, or you just want to stop doing your own business and rethink that whole process of what I want to do. All right. Take care, Leo. So Virgo, that new moon in Capricorn, well, that's a fellow earth sign. So it trines your sign, and it trines your fifth house. So this is absolutely fabulous for what? It's fabulous for new love coming into your life at this time. For those Virgos that are seeking it, that new moon could be setting it all off for you. It can bring in positiveness with regards to children. Perhaps you get pregnant or your partner gets pregnant. There's a birth at this time. All those could be up. If you want to start your own business, this new moon, Virgo, would be perfect for that. Absolutely perfect. Having fun could just become something that you make as a new, maybe that's a new initiative that you put on that list of what am I going to do different in 2024? And a big one is, I'm going to have some more fun here. And maybe you're going to get your calendar out and start putting some time periods each month where you literally have fun, where you take vacation to have fun. That becomes a big focus for you, right? And it's kicked off at this new moon in Capricorn. Having fun with children could also be up here for you as well. That whole fifth house, right? Now, when we look at that conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, that's going to be in your sixth house. Well, this is a great time to start considering your health, right? So Pluto in the sixth house, for sure, you have to take care of your health. But it doesn't mean all disaster here. What it means is that you've got to take care of your health. You've got to take care of the way you eat, the way you exercise, your mental health as well. Pluto's going to assist you with that transformation, Virgo, over the next 20 years. All you have to do is go along with the transformation and let go of habits, things that you do in your health area that are just not good for you. So start thinking of that and maybe start taking some initiative around the 20th of January, right the way through having other people assist you that first half of February when you've got all the interpersonal planets conjunct that same point of 0 degrees of Aquarius and Pluto. But certainly there's going to be some transformation that goes on. Just embrace it and participate in the transformation, right? For still others, this is also the house of your day-to-day job. And if you've got employees, it's employees. So there's going to be some Virgos that are going to be acquiring a lot of power on the day-to-day job here. And with great power, of course, comes great responsibility. Yeah, I would say that, and this is a once in a lifetime thing, having Pluto in this, having this potential effect for you. So there may be just some changes in the power structure of your day-to-day job that hands you, this power where you have to now maybe have a number of employees underneath you, where you have to have them report to you, that sort of thing. Now, the other thing, too, is your day-to-day job could have more to do with Pluto-type things. So this is research. This is working behind the scenes in secret. So there may be some Virgos that's activated at this time, too. When we look at the full moon in Leo, that's going to be in your 12th house, Virgo. And so I would say that you're going to have this illumination with regards to what? Regards to anything that's hidden. Now, there's going to be some Virgos where you may actually be working behind the scenes in places that are hidden. So those are hospitals. Those are ashrams, prisons, government offices. For whatever reason, you may need to do some kind of wrap up in those areas. And hey, it might be something as simple as you've been involved in setting up some kind of social media things, maybe setting up a whole internet type interactions in one of these places that are behind the scenes. And it's wrapped up now. The creative project that you've been doing in these particular behind the scenes places has now finished. It's completed. And you're able to bring it out into the open and show people. Now, if you think about Leo, Leo likes to be on the stage. Leo doesn't like to be behind the scenes. But because this is a full moon, it's an ending of doing some stuff behind the scenes. And now you're able to showcase it. That's how I really see this playing out for Virgos right now. For still others, it just might be an inner activation with regards to creative things, right? It is also a good time, this full moon, for you to really start planning some fun things in your life. It's not necessarily the time to do that, but it's also the time here where you need to say, I'm working too hard, maybe. Virgos are very hard workers. And maybe I need to get my calendar out here and find out particular times during 2024 when I can actually break free here and have some fun. For others, because Leo also can rule your own business, this is going to have you potentially doing some planning, not announcing, planning and finding out things that you need to do with regards to setting up your own business, right? That could also be going on here. For still others, some Virgos may have some kind of hidden love going on here. Now, this hidden love could be someone that loves you from afar, but it could come out into the open with this full moon, where someone announces that, they've loved you for a long time, and they express that love to you. That could also happen. All right, Virgo, take care of yourself. So Libra, when we look at that new moon that's happening in Capricorn, squares your 4th house. So squares are challenges. It means you've got to work hard at something, to change something, or work with other people to enact that change. And the 4th house talks about your mother. By extension, it's your family, and of course, it's your habits. It can also be your home, your physical home you're in right now, as well as the home that you were brought up in too. So all these areas are being brought up for some kind of challenge at that new moon. You want to make a new start, but there's some challenge here. So this is literally going to play out for some Librans, a new start to get a new home where it's not all straightforward, that you're going to have to pay attention to some maybe new rules and regulations that are in place. Perhaps the structure of the home that you want to buy needs to be fixed in some way. So certainly I would take a look. If that's the case, make sure you do get a very good assessment of your home before you buy. It could be that there are many people that are wanting to buy the same home and bidding on it, and you're having to really think creatively through this process. Because it's in Capricorn, I would say seek advice from those people that are very experienced. They may assist you with whatever challenge you're having. It can also be that you've got to maybe go live with your mother. Maybe she's elderly, or that elderly mother has to come live with you. And the challenge is how to fit all those in where everyone is functioning well and happy. Could also just have you having some challenges with regards to your family for whatever reason. But because it's Capricorn, it could be the older members of your family that are providing some challenge for you, right? And let's face it, a lot of us are having parents that are elderly that need to be taken care of, that can't be no longer left in their home without some kind of assistance. So it may mean for some Librans, you setting up some assistance from the community and making that happen for your maybe elderly parents, or if it's your mother or father individually. That could be what happens here. Know that you also have another new moon towards the end of December. And that could be more favorable to see everything set in place. Put effort in and it'll all work out fine. When we look at that conjunction of the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, hey, it trines your sign and it trines your 5th house. My goodness. All right, so for some Librans that have been waiting for a transformational true love to come in, well, this is your ticket, right? And that ticket is going to be going to be more obvious right the way through the first half of February this 2024. For others that have been waiting to either get pregnant or have their partner get pregnant, this could be a big signal for that too, right? Unexpectedly, it turns up. This whole effect in your 5th house, Libra, is going to carry on for at least 20 years. Now, it has to aspect something in your chart directly by degrees. This one is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. It's a very powerful thing. Sun conjunct Pluto just on its own is very, very powerful. So children, true love, your own business. You may decide that you want to start your own business and you're going to have this transformational effect really support you here. The important thing about Pluto is to let go of what needs to let go, or let go if someone's leaving your life for whatever reason. It's leaving, you need to let it go. That's the effect of Pluto. But hey, if you're just working, with the energies, Libra, your whole life could be transformed starting the 20th here of Jan. And this could be affecting children, true love, your own business. Having fun could be very much at the fore here, where, you really start living life. Creative projects could be off the charts for you. For those Librans that are in the creative arts, this trine is going to be in effect for some time and be very, very favorable for you. So look to new starts in creative projects of any sort. Now, when we look at that full moon in Leo, well, that sextiles you, and it involves your 11th house. Generally speaking, this is probably going to have the ending of some friendships for whatever reason, and new ones begin at this time, as well as new groups that you may belong to. Now, it could have, for some Librans, opportunities come up to have hopes, dreams, and wishes come true. It's going to mean, though, a culmination or an ending of some sort. So it may mean that you've got to let go of something, say a friendship or a group that you belong to, in order to pursue some dream that you want to pursue. I know it's a full moon, and we talk about culminations and endings, but it could also be something like you just decide that the friends that you're with are just not a lot of fun anymore, right? Because Leo, it's a Leo sign. Leo likes to have fun. And you have to make some hard decisions here. to let go of those friendships. And maybe some of the groups you belong to aren't fun anymore either. And you're just saying, I need to have more fun here. I need to enjoy myself more. And that kind of works in tandem with what I just talked about with the effect of that sun conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius in your 5th house of having fun. So it's like a playoff here, right? Now, for others, you may decide you want to wrap up any income that you get regarding your own business. So for those Librans that have their own business, this may be just your decision that you want to let go of that income. You don't want to do that anymore. Either you want to start a new business, a new enterprise of some sort, or you just decide you don't want to do your own business and you may want to go and work for somebody else at this time. That could be something. But hey, it's just beautiful here for you, Libra, in terms of the creativity. Any aspect of creativity for you being so favorable with that trine from Pluto in Aquarius. So enjoy that. Take care of yourself, Libra. So Scorpio. Scorpio, that new moon in Capricorn sextiles your sign, and it involves the 3rd house. So this could just have you having new starts with regards to your siblings. Maybe you've got to be communicating more with them. Maybe even traveling to see them in local areas more. Maybe some of your siblings are going to be living in your local areas and you get to see them more often. Neighbors may become more important for you in terms of communicating with them. You may even, for some Scorpios, decide that you're going to do that ride share thing with some of your neighbors and save some money. Or you both travel to the same area of town for work. For others, you could have a new start with regards to writing projects, a new start with regards to a sales and commerce type initiative could be up here too. But it really gives this really lovely a new start with regards to communications of any sort. So it could have you, because it's Capricorn, maybe for some folks consulting with more seasoned people and, leveraging their experience with regards to how they write, how they communicate, or how they present. And I know I've mentioned this before, but something like Toastmasters is one of the safest and I think easiest ways to not only learn how you can present, but also practice how you present and how you appear to other people. Something to maybe consider. Now, when we look at that conjunction of both the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, that squares your sign and it involves the 4th house. So the 4th house represents the home that we live in right now. It's our childhood home. It's our mother, and by extension, it's our family, and it's our habits. So all these areas are up for you to put some effort into for some time. Now, this could play out where, for whatever reason, maybe you're going to have to deal with your family, that some issues come up with your family and or your mother that you have to deal with. And it might be that things like you've got elderly parents, or your mother is no longer well, and that either you need to go live with her and her home has to be transformed somehow, or she comes to live with you and you transform your home. And I think a lot of people are going through this process right now with elderly parents of how do we look after them. And so this is just asking you to think outside the box of maybe, let's just say, you've got to have your parent come and live with you because they can no longer take care of themselves. And you have to reorganize your home. Your family in your home has to reorganize themselves to incorporate this person into your life. I mean, for still others, you may just decide that you want to transform your home somehow. And this becomes a long-lasting project for you. Or there may be others that transform their home by maybe living in different countries. That could also be up for some Scorpios as well. I guess a job like maybe reporting from foreign countries or reporting from other countries. Could also involve you obviously having a home in different places all the time, right? This is going to be a long-lasting transit of 20 years. So all I've got to say is put effort into things and you could have great transformation of things that I've just mentioned regarding your home that are positive. It doesn't all have to be bad at all. When we look at that full moon in Leo, well, that also squares your sign, but now it's your career. So certainly for the month of January, you're going to have the effect of challenges regarding your career as well as your home. And so this one here with the full moon is going to have some kind of culmination in your career. So there's going to be some Leos that just say, I've decided I want to change up my whole career. Maybe a completely different career is what you want to do. For still others, there may be some changes at the workplace that you've got to incorporate now as part of your career that maybe you don't like or that are a challenge. This could typically play out where, there's new trainings that you've got to do that you really don't want to do, or new job responsibilities come your way. Look at squares. You need to look at effort, but also growth, right? As you work through squares, growth comes to you. So remember that, right? For still others, this may be some challenge with regards to maybe some changes you want to make with regards to anything Leo related. So this could be some kind of creative project. So maybe this career that you've got that's creative is asking you to think differently. Or maybe the clientele that you appeal to, or your fans give you input with regards to changing up some kind of creative thing that you're doing in your career. It could also be some folks have to take on some new ways creatively of carrying on with their career. Leo also represents children too. And because we've got the influence of the fourth house here as well, with the conjunction of the Sun and Pluto, it could be that children start coming into the mix and you literally start having children. And it does affect your career, where maybe you've got to now participate with your partner so that you both can have successful careers here and still have children at the same time. But that big creativity thing is being very much at the fore here. The other thing, there may be some Scorpios that have got a romance happening at the job. And, it presents some challenging or difficult or awkward situations. Just look at creative ways of making things work and you should be fine. It's a full moon. It does end, but it's going to illuminate something at the career that you have. All right, Scorpio, take care of yourself. So Sagittarius, you got a few things happening here. One of the ones I wanted to point out was that Mercury going direct on the 1st of January at 22 degrees of Sagittarius will be binged or pinged again in November, when we have another Mercury retrograde start at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So there's something up here, especially if you've got something around the 22 degree mark of Sagittarius, that kind of bookends the year with regards to communications, with regards to contracts, with regards to any kind of messaging or communications are all up here. And it could have a foreign flavor as well. It could have something to do with travel. There may be some Sagittarians that literally are starting off on some kind of world travel for a year that culminates maybe at the Mercury retrograde, where they stop their travel in November and reflect back on what a great time they had. There are going to be some Sagittarians that are in that category. For others, this is just going to be like, it's like when that Mercury goes direct on the 1st of Jan, it still does have to come out of shadow, I agree. But it comes out of shadow right around that 20th of January when we have Pluto conjunct the Sun at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And so I'm also getting this new initiative with regards to the way you communicate, Sagittarius, that is going to be reflected at that new moon in Capricorn. And it has some tie-in with regards to the money that you make. So I think once that Mercury retrograde goes forward and the new moon in Capricorn occurs, this could be a signal of you potentially getting a new job. New money comes your way. New value of yourself. You could get communications with regards to people saying, we really value the work that you do, and we want to offer you something. I think there's a tie-in with all that. But that new moon in Capricorn in your second house could also have you literally just acquiring new possessions. I mean, the second house can rule that too. Because it's Capricorn, it could have someone from your past or someone older than you, maybe someone who was a manager or supervisor of you, approach you with this offer of a job and therefore new income for you. When we look at that conjunction of both the Sun and Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, well, hey, Aquarius sextiles your sign, Sagittarius, and it involves your third house. So there's more than likely going to be, again, communications of some sort unexpectedly come your way that set off new opportunities for you. And these new opportunities for you are going to carry right the way through the first half of February when we've got the inner planets, personal planets, conjunct that same degree point of 0 degrees Aquarius and Pluto sitting there. So there's a big transformation going on here. Now, the other thing that this could involve is you undertake, as maybe part of your job or for some other reason, local travel, because the third house can also represent local travel as well. Maybe your job is going to require you to, maybe that new job that's offered you at that new moon involves you doing local travel, and it totally transforms who you are for the positive, right? Certainly opportunities are going to be there for you to do some local travel. Opportunities to communicate more with your siblings and your neighbors. Maybe you set up some kind of initiative with your neighbors that is transformative for you. The other thing is the third house is writing. So there's going to be some Sagittarians that put some real effort into writing and maybe produce something of significance, because that effect of Pluto in your third house by sextile is going to be there for 20 years. So you could be prolific writing powerful things here. For others, it may be setting up some kind of real big initiative with sales and commerce. It will just continue, right? Because the Sun conjuncts Pluto on the 20th of Jan, it just is kind of an indication for the next 20 years that that house is going to be activated. Now, for any major effect, Sagittarius, it's got to be, exact degrees, pretty close, or with an orb of 1 or 2 degrees when we're talking about transits here, right? Sometimes these things can go by or just have a mild effect on us. But communications are going to be big for you, not only for January, but also for the next 20 years or so, when Pluto really goes into Aquarius towards the end of November of 2024. Now, when we look at the full moon in Leo, we know Leo is a fellow fire sign, so we know there's a trine, favorable trine for you. And that favorable trine is going to be lighten up your 9th house. And the 9th house is opposite the 3rd house of all those communications that I was talking about. So this could have some Sagittarians actually ending some travel, that maybe you tie up some fabulous travel that you've been going on at this time. For still other Sagittarians, you could be publishing at this time, that writing project that you were working on now sees a publisher that says, no problem, I want to get that done. For still others, it's going to be some maybe legal matter that you tie up very favorably at this time. And for still others, maybe a tie-up of some kind of advanced degree. You see the end of it now at that full moon in Leo. But January is a very favorable month for you, Sagittarius, or Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun. I just think you're going to have a lot of good news, especially if you've got something around that 22-degree mark of Sagittarius. Expect good news right at the beginning of the first half of January. All right, take care of yourself, Sagittarius. So when we do a little peek at February, I've already mentioned this a few times, but the inner planets, so that is Mercury, Mars, and Venus, will all, during the first half of February 2024, all conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, activating that whole conjunction of the Sun conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the 20th of January. Wow. I'll talk about that in my February video. We have a new moon at 20 degrees of Aquarius, and we have a full moon at 5 degrees of Virgo. All right, folks. As always, I'm sending everybody lots of positive energy, lots of love. I'm really optimistic about this whole new year of 2024, especially because we've got that Mercury going direct in the positive, hopeful sign of Sagittarius, 22 degrees on the 1st of Jan, kicking off the whole year in such a positive way. Great time to get your chart done if you did want to get your chart done. All my contact details are below. I offer you different things that you can do. I would love to do your chart. I love to do astrology. I also do combine it with tarot too in one of my readings. I'm going to leave it at that. Please take care of yourself, everybody. Stay tuned. I will put as many announcements as I can everywhere on social media when I do my next live session. I had such a great time with all of you. All right. Take care of yourself, and I am wishing you just the best of the best for 2024. Bye for now, guys. Hi, everyone. It's Elizabeth here from Alpes Astrology. I'd like just to give you a little more detail about what I do with regards to the services I can offer you. Certainly, I suggest that if you've not had your chart ever done, this would be a good time to do it. Contact me. All my contact details are below, and we can talk to each other back and forth and arrange something for you. So I offer different services. I offer a full astrology report for 2 of my services. One is where I look at both your natal chart and your progress chart in detail. I accompany that with a physical chart, as well as your charts that I'm looking at for that year. I do what's called a transit chart, which really involves your progressed chart for that year in combination with your natal chart. I give you a report for that as well. Typically, I'd be updating an existing report for you. I have a lot of clients that come back to me yearly. And then the other service that I offer is a combination of taking a quick look at the astrology. Typically, it would be a year or 2 year, what stands out for me, looking at that, and then adding in at the end a tarot card reading to accompany it. I record that and send that to you pre-recorded. So that's not a live session. The other 2 that I do are live session. And then I offer, obviously, custom. I do a lot of picking marriage dates, compatibility. I typically use what are called Davison charts or synastry as well, where I can combine 2 charts to see how do these 2 charts of these people work together. More often, it's going to be sort of romantic relationships, but it can also be business relationships too. How well do we work together type thing by producing one chart. So I do all that. As I said, I would love to do your chart. Contact me below, and we can work together to make that happen for you.